Hello, welcome to the Nappy Frappe. My name is Cheryl Monique. I am your host. And today, our coffee talk topic is healthy relationships and how to build and maintain them. I get into relationships conversations a lot, but it's really important to understand the difference between a happy relationship and a healthy relationship. Uh, you can be in one that's healthy that maybe lacks happiness, but if you lack health, you won't find happiness. So it's really the foundation of any promising relationship. And it's not just romantic relationships, it's familial, friendship, work, all of them. So see what you can apply these to. But before I get started, make sure you click subscribe if you have not already subscribed to me, because you have to be up on all my videos. Also, make sure you're following me on all forms of social media at the Nappy Frappe. If you like this video at the end, hit like, share it on your social media, tag me in, let me know what you think. All right, let's get into it. Okay, so the foundation of even the beginning of a healthy relationship is getting what you want. And in order to get what you want, you have to know what you want. So you have to be able to differentiate between your standards and your preferences. And I think a lot of the times people conflate the two and then end up unhappy because you said something was just a preference, and then you get into a relationship with someone that doesn't necessarily meet that preference, and you realize it was a standard. You actually need that to be happy. So now your choice is either leave the person you're with or try to force them into being your standard. And typically that's the way it runs, because you don't want to leave the person you're with. So you try to, move it in the direction towards your standard. And so it's really important to identify what your standards are. Like, for instance, if you're somebody that works out all the time, if you're a gym rat, right? And you're like, I prefer a woman that works out too. And sometimes you'll meet the woman, if you're like a personal trainer, you'll meet the woman as like your client. She may just be trying to lose pounds for that moment. She may not be someone that's getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning all the time. Or, you may have met her completely out of the gym, and, she has a tight body, but she doesn't work out. And you say it's a preference, but then when you start dating her, it feels almost like there's a lack of ambition, because that's not what she wants to do. That's not her thing. And then you're going to start to realize you actually want someone that shares that interest with you, that it just wasn't about the person doing the action, but having those interests because it's such a major part of your life. And that can apply to traveling. If you're somebody that likes to travel a lot, you might be with someone that has no desire to go anywhere. They kind of like to be a homebodies, like to stay in their area, familiar things. And there's nothing wrong with that. That just may be not what you're looking for. So again, set your standards over your preferences and then stick to them. If you're on a first date and you realize, I really like this and this person doesn't really meet it, maybe you should just be more casual with that person. Okay, then there is building the relationship that makes you better. You want to know what your personal goals are and build a relationship where you feel supported in that, where you feel like that the person that you're with is holding you accountable to the goals that you said you have, supporting you in the things that you want, and not draining you of the energy you need to put into the things that you want to do for you personally. Your relationship should be a safe haven, and if you feel as though the time you spend with the person you're dating only drains you of the energy you need to be the best you, then you need to get out of that. But also be sure that you're pouring into the person that you're with and giving them support, being aware of the things that they want, they desire, and seeing how ambitious they are. Be encouraging for that. Also, you want to create boundaries with toxic behaviors. And it's really important when someone is maybe, just living in their own negativity or constantly picking your things apart. I know a lot of people who don't like to post things online because they're saying that, people will wish them ill. If maybe you should just distance yourself, unfriend, block, distance yourself from anyone that you believe would wish you ill. I'm unaware of anybody that has ill will towards me. And it's not something I focus on. And for me, if I'm with people that focus on that, I need to create that boundary. If I feel like the energy that you pour into yourself and into me is one of negativity and sadness or envy, then I can't do that with you. The conversation needs to be encouraging and positive. If someone is always looking for the hole in your story, looking for where you might fail, and not in a way where it's like, just make sure you pick up all these extra pieces, not a warning kind of thing, but it's like, well, if you want to do that, there's this and this and this, and create boundaries with people that create sad, discouraging, hurtful feelings in you, even if it's just being around their negative energy. If someone isn't able to get out of their funk, then maybe you need to take space away from them because you don't want to absorb that and then become that. I have friends that I've had that they were always so consistently in bad relationships and kind of just existed in that space that we couldn't have a positive conversation of encouragement because they did not know how to see past that. And if someone else was to speak about their joy, their happiness, they almost see it as a dig to them because their life isn't what they want it to be. Again, no time for that. And you have to love yourself the most. That is so important for making you better in a relationship. You have to love yourself more than anyone else. It's kind of like the confidence thing that I talked about, where it's like, if you think you are the best thing ever and you talk about yourself like it's some sort of infomercial, at the end, I want to buy it. And your love for yourself has to be the same way. You have to love yourself so well that other people know that that's how they have to treat you. Don't put yourself down. Don't discourage yourself. You have to really take time with yourself to build you up. And that is the only way that you're going to be able to truly pour positivity into someone else. Or it's like you're pouring out of an empty cup, or pouring poison into someone else's cup. They don't need that. All right. Also, in the beginning of the relationship, and I guess throughout, knowing your position and playing it is really important. A lot of people get into these situations, or it's complicated. Like, it's never complicated. Whatever, I used to see that online. It's never complicated. It may not be what you want it to be, but it's never complicated. So just know what your position is and play that position. When I'm single and dating, I'm single and dating. And I don't ask if you're seeing other people, because if we're single, I'm assuming you're seeing other people. Because fine, you may not be seeing anybody today, but then you go out with your friends and you meet somebody. Now you are, what are you going to call me up and tell me you got a phone number? No, and I'm not going to do that for you. So the assumption is, until we have a talk about exclusivity, we're both talking to other people. And I play that position. I act on that. If you're single and I'm single and I see you out in the street and you're on a date, I'm not going to make you uncomfortable. I'm not going to try to talk to you or anything like that. And I don't expect you to do that to me if you see me out, because this isn't your time. Play your position. And with that, don't play the wife role if you're the girlfriend, or the girlfriend role if you're just a chick that's, kind of a very casual thing. If you're not in a committed relationship, don't put yourself out of the way. It's like doing the manager's work for entry-level pay and then complaining that you don't get paid enough. That's not your job. That's not in your job description. And if you're not sure what's in your job description, have that conversation. And if you're uncomfortable having a conversation about the expectations in your relationship, you're not in a relationship. If you're uncomfortable finding out where you stand, you know where you stand. And if you want to be in a better position, you have to apply for it. You have to make it known that that's what you want. And the person has the right to say yes or no. You have the right to say yes or no to a change in position. With me, it's usually like, okay, this is the position. And I never ask someone to give me a better position, but I let it be known that I might be applying elsewhere. If I'm ready for that next position, just so you know, I might be looking elsewhere, for a job that can better suit my needs. Also, be careful with playing games because every game has a loser. And often, if this is not a game you are enjoying, if this is not a game that you started, you don't know the rules or the rules can constantly change. So I prefer just to try to be honest and not play those games. But at least if you're engaged in some game plan, know the rules and understand, if you lose, take it on the chin. In Once you're into the relationship or even going in, but I would say this because this is about knowing how to disagree or fight. And I will say, if you are in the first few months of the relationship and you guys are fighting, get out. Seriously, I cannot make it. If you are fighting in the first 3 months of a relationship, it's not going to get better. Now, maybe in the beginning, you guys just need to work out the kinks of expectations. But if the way you communicate and disagree leads to like animosity and tension and even aggressiveness, go. This ain't it. But as you do get into a relationship and you're building with someone, you're going to start to disagree, and you're going to start to disagree on major things because as you bring your lives together and they become a bigger part of how you do your day to day and who you are, there are going to be disagreements. And how you disagree determines how you move forward. And I always believe fight to solve, not to win. And that is where if we're fighting to solve the problem, we both know that there is a problem here and we need to get to a solution. So whether it's critical thinking, working through everything, you say what you say, I say what I say, and we got to compromise, or at least, maybe compromise. Sometimes one plan is just better than the other plan, and you got to do what the other person says because that's just the better way to solve your problem. But communicating through the problem is the best way to solve it. If you start fighting to win, no. Fighting to win means I can talk about anybody. Talk about your mama, your kid. I'm a little loose with it if I was to start getting crazy with my mouth, which is why I do not get crazy with my mouth. Because I do believe that women are punchable. Not that we should be hit for saying, not that anybody should be hit for saying anything, but it's a risk that you run. And so, I try to watch what I say, but you should always watch what you say, because if you start fighting to win, the communication is broken. And now you're just trying to win the point and hurt the person's feelings. And why would you want to hurt somebody that you care about? Why would you want to be hurt by somebody that you care about? At this point, we're never going to get past this, because whatever the problem is, we're not even fighting about the problem anymore. We're fighting about what you said to me or how you spoke to me. Because I, for one, don't forget anything. If you say anything to me in a fight, even if I don't bring it up, it's there. If you've ever called me out of my name, it's there. I don't forget that. Any little thing you might have said in passing as a little dig, I've tucked that away for this is who you are. And so it's really important to communicate in a way that is respectful. Respect has to be non-negotiable. It can't be something where you throw it out the window as soon as your feelings are hurt. And I have friends and family who get a little live with it. Their feelings get hurt and they start saying some craziness. And you can't do that. You can't just talk about anything or anyone because someone hurt your feelings. Because you're not going to solve your issue, and you've also pulled away at the threads of your respect. And once respect is frayed, it just unravels to nothing. So respect has to be something that is completely non-negotiable. When I'm in a relationship, I let it be known right away. Don't curse at me. Let's not yell at each other. And I curse all the time. If you're my friend, you know that my language is peppered with all sorts of profanity because it's fun for me. But during arguments, I don't do that. I'm super conscious of making sure that I'm communicating my thoughts in a respectful way. So one, this person feels respected so they can hear what I'm saying. And two, they understand that it needs to come back this way, the same way. So again, respect, non-negotiable. If someone starts disrespecting you, there's no health. If someone is purposefully saying something that they know will hurt you, you got to go. And so with that, the whole idea of, if you can't take me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best. Ugh, that is bull. That is ridiculous. No one deserves you at your worst. Don't go throwing your worst at people thinking someone needs to tolerate it. This whole, a good woman or a good person is somebody that can stick through anything. No, you don't get to put me through anything and think you get to keep me. That's not the way it works. So if you are someone who thinks that, you got to, be with me at the bottom, that's supposed to be for with Jeff Bezos when he started Amazon in his garage and, had his side job, and his wife probably had to sacrifice a lot of time and, the family resources while he invested in this business because, he's not up yet. That's that. And, so when he was up, she rode with him at the bottom to where he got up. That is not you being disrespectful and abusive and toxic. So if someone is abusive and toxic and disrespectful to you, let them go. A good relationship is one that doesn't ask you to suffer for a reward. A healthy relationship doesn't need you to prove that you can accept abuse to be loved. A good relationship makes you feel loved no matter what. So it's so important that you also don't think that someone has to prove their love to you by showing you all of what they'll go through for you. No one should be proving anything to you. They should just be enjoying you. You two should be enjoying each other. In a healthy relationship, there's just a mutual satisfaction of just the time spent and the building between you. And if there is suffering, you are both working to alleviate the suffering so that nobody is in pain. But not I'm in a bad mood today, so I'm going to be a complete bitch, and if you love me, you'll just accept it. No, if I am in a really bad mood and I know I'm in a bad mood, I try to isolate myself so I'm not just spilling onto the people around me. That's not right. And I can't control always if I'm in a mood, if I'm upset about something, but I can control how I behave. And so it's really important that you understand the reward of a good relationship comes from people being good to you and you being good to others. Also, you want to go for what you want. It's kind of like the setting the standard things I talked about in the beginning. You want to make sure that once you know what you're looking for, go for it. Go for that. Don't settle. Push. Keep dating. Keep out there. You may not want to break hearts, but as soon as you know that it ain't right for you, let the people know. Be honest, be casual, but look for what you want because you deserve it. A healthy relationship is one where you value what you have. And the best way to value what you have is to want it. You know what I mean? If you give a woman a huge diamond, but she doesn't want diamonds, she doesn't like them, she's not going to value that. It's not valuable to her. For me, instantly, I am not a designer bag girl. This is nice, it's pretty, but I'm not a designer clothes person. But vacations and food, I love food. Vacations and food, I value that. Taking me to a new restaurant, that's valuable to me. I'll do that. over stuff. But there are people who like stuff. And so no matter what it is, whether it's superficial or internal, whatever it is you're looking for, look for that and chase that. Because if you don't get it, you're going to become resentful. And it sucks. It sucks for you. It sucks for the person that you're with. And it corrodes the health of the relationship. And super important, one of my last notes, a healthy relationship is one where there is psychological support and no gaslighting. Gaslighting is for me, one of the most abusive things that can happen in a relationship. When you know what's going on and someone is telling you that what you are seeing is not happening. And they're trying to create a cognitive dissonance in your reality and what they're telling you the reality is. You know, it's like, I see you being disrespectful, but you're telling me I'm just jealous and crazy. I see you not valuing who I am, but you're telling me I just don't appreciate it. And then it starts to be where it's like, I can't communicate my needs because anytime I say I have a need, you're telling me, oh, you don't need that. You don't really want that. It's this instead. And both men and women gaslight. And the thing is, in my list, all these things apply for men and women. I have seen people on both sides of it. And so it's really important that you are in a relationship that makes you feel whole. And that's not to say this other person's job to make you whole, but it's their job not to pick away at you. You are supposed to make you whole. And then you enter into a relationship as a whole person. And you want to be sure that the relationship that you're in just supports the wholeness that you are. That it doesn't pick away at your sense of self. Because then you're left not knowing who you are, what you want anymore. And it ends up being very unhealthy. And sometimes it takes a moment to see these things. A lot of the times, these things don't become clear until hindsight. You know, you get out of the relationship and you look back and you're like, oh my God. Well, that's not true. I have been convinced a couple of times about my weight in relationships. I'm clearly a thin person, but you start to see yourself through the other person's eyes. And if the reflection isn't a positive one, that can be a very toxic thing to move forward in for yourself. So you want to be sure that you are constantly taking inventory on who you are personally and trying to maintain the wholeness that is you. And if you are in a relationship where you feel like someone is pulling away from who you are and communicating that doesn't fix it, maybe therapy, especially if you're married, if therapy doesn't fix it, get out. And once you get out, take a look. Take some inventory. Put yourself back together. And remember, a lesson unlearned is a lesson repeated. So at this point, once you know better, do better. So with that being said, I want to thank everybody for coming. If you like this video, click like. Make sure if you have not clicked subscribe already, please do so right now. It's going to pop up right in the video. So one of these sides, a little circle. Pop it. All right, so subscribe. Enjoy my videos. Also, follow me on all forms of social media, the Nappy Frappe. And it was great seeing you. All right, y'all. Bye.